Well, I've had a bit of time to kind of think about how to progress since my last fight, and I've taken on these new measures to work on things a little bit differently, and things have worked out very well. Big improvements. My sparring has been the best it's ever been. I start the camp off and I'm at my best, and then as the camp progresses, the body fatigues, the sparrings get a little bit more cloudy, and then in the final 2 weeks, that's when you kind of start to progress again. You start cutting down on the trainings, and you perform on fight night. But this time around, I'm just been increasing, and I think it's got to do with my understanding of my body, but also kind of making these little adjustments in like stylistic decisions, but also in different training regimes. Also, big one is how I recover, not with like ice baths and everything and what people what people generally think recovery is all about. For me, it's mostly been the mental recovery and finding a way for my brain to reset. That's been a big one for me.
Tell me about some of the work you got in Vegas, particularly the sparring, and how you felt you performed there.
Well, I've been just meeting the target, doing exactly what I needed to do, and not really having any serious kind of didn't really absorb any serious shots. So everything kind of met to plan. I was meeting the stylistic target of each sparring session, and it was quite nice.
I know you never really saw yourself as the butcher. That was kind of a moniker given to you. But I suppose, what kind of fighter do you see yourself as at the moment?
If I was called like a butcher beforehand, now I'm kind of like a Japanese chef, an omakase chef. I'm very delicate with the way I do things.
Just on that, how was Chef Omar's performance in Vegas?
Look, he's good in the stuff that he does, but when it comes to Eastern cuisine, he's still got a lot to learn. He did rice. He was cooking rice the Japanese way, but it wasn't perfect every time. Some of them were kind of 5s, some of them were 6s. He did one that was very good, but there was only one of them. So he's got to lift your game. It takes 10 years for a Japanese chef to progress from rice to other dishes. So he's cocky to think that he can only do it in a few weeks. And he didn't like that I was telling him that.
I bet he didn't.
It's like 9 more years, buddy.
This fight is obviously with Cohen, but I'm sure the previous 3 interviewers who've spoken to you have asked you about
Same.
Michael Zarafa as well.
Mosquito Michael.
Is it weird to be talking about a bloke who you're not actually fighting, but is on the card?
I guess the conversation is unavoidable, but my focus is nothing on that little rat. Nah, my focus is primarily on Cohen. He's just exterior noise. He's like a fan in the crowd, just like kind of screaming. And I know my focus is on Cohen.
He's pretty confident that a fight with you is in the future if you guys both win next week. Can you confirm whether that's the plan from your end?
I can't confirm anything. No one's told me about anything. I think that he's being told stuff that, I don't know, just to shut him up. See how he performs.
You were there in Vegas when Tim fought Fundora and he fought Lara. What did you make of that fight and I guess the end of that fight?
You know, it was funny. I was in the change room at that point in time when he was fighting, and the moment he got dropped, my initial reaction was spewing. Like for a moment, I felt sorry for him, but then as soon as I saw him get dropped, I was like, yeah, nah, screw this guy. It's kind of hilarious.
You mentioned before, recently over in Vegas, the moment when the news came through that the IBF had mandated Tim and Bakhram. Just take us through that moment, I guess, from the inside of the camp.
Well, I was actually leaving that day, and I think we got the news in the afternoon, and I was leaving around 5 o'clock, and I just remember eager having a drink of whiskey for it, and them having a drink in my behalf.
Was there any talk about how Tim might match up stylistically with Bakhram? Did it get that far, or was it straight to the whiskey?
No, well, the fight was. We knew about the fight for a bit beforehand, and it was just like a confirmation that yes, everything's been signed, we're all good. So, yeah, it was straight to the whiskey.
How, I guess, do you see that fight playing out in terms of their respective styles?
I haven't really seen much of him. I don't really watch much of anyone, to be honest. But by the look of that poster photo, he looks like he has a hard head. He's got like very thick skull. So Tim's got to punch holes into that skull. He's got to start learning how to punch walls.
Does Tim have a hard head?
I haven't really hit him enough to know.